the world around you makes a lot of noises. And so how did you cope up with it? Anything specific for mains that you would like to suggest to the candidates, Aashna? How did you balance between optional and GS, between prelims and mains? What was your strategy? How long did your interview go? Hello all of you. I am here with Aashna. Aashna has got 116 rank and she has been a student of LSR, English Honours, and then she has also pursued her international relations. इस बार आशना का थर्ड अटेम्प्ट था और आशना ने इस बार बाजी मार ली है. She has qualified and I'm sure her experience will help all of you in doing as good as possible. So many congratulations, Aashna, first of all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So first thing, Aashna, that I ask all the students I talk to, how did the journey begin? When did it come to your mind that it will be civil services?
All right, sir. So it's not like it came to my mind just now, right before the journey, but it was slightly being ingrained in me that you should appear for civil services wherever I would go. So I was always good at academics. So wherever I would go, people would expect me or people would say that this girl would do good in civil services because she's already doing good in her academics at the school level. But slowly, while doing my graduation, I kind of forgot all that, and I got wrapped up in other things. But I wanted to take a break before doing my masters, and that's when I was looking for options, and accidentally I fell into civil services.
All right.
But after I dived deeper, I realized this was the thing for me.
Right, perfect. So, what were the initial days like? What will you suggest to a beginner that अगर हम prelims की तैयारी शुरू कर रहे हैं या exam as a whole, if we are beginning to prepare, so what will be your suggestion? कैसे तैयारी शुरू कैसे करनी चाहिए? What should a beginner do?
A beginner should always start with looking at the syllabus. So syllabus should be read thoroughly. You should identify what are the demands of UPSC. And this can be, this is very well depicted through the language of the syllabus. So yes, that is how it is to be done. You should identify your syllabus first, see which are the areas that you are comfortable with and which are the areas that you need to work harder. Right. And then when you identify those areas, classify those areas, you should begin by looking at the standard books, reading 1 or 2 chapters of them, and then seeing where you need to give more time and where you do not need to give more time. And I would prefer that you give more time to the subjects you are comfortable with in the beginning, and then the subjects you are uncomfortable with.
Okay, so make a momentum and then go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay, तो आप में से जो लोग हिंदी भाषी हैं, मैं बस आपके लिए चीज़ें थोड़ी सिंप्लीफाई कर देता हूँ कि आप शुरुआत में अपने बेसिक सब्जेक्ट्स को पढ़ें, बेसिक किताबें पढ़ें, और जिन सब्जेक्ट्स में जिन चीज़ों में आप बेहतर हैं उनको पहले ज़्यादा पढ़ लें, अच्छा कर लें उन्हें, और धीरे धीरे आप अपने आप उस मोमेंटम के थ्रू अच्छा करने लग जाएंगे जो बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जिनके अंदर आप थोड़ा अगर कमज़ोर भी महसूस करते हैं तो. लेकिन शुरुआत बेसिक किताबों से होनी चाहिए. And the standard books apply well. You would suggest that, like say Lakshmikant in polity or so on as we go on.
They give you a starting point. So they give you a slight acceleration, and then you need to read a few things more, but generally towards the side of current affairs.
Okay. So you can make your basics from the standard books, and then you can shift towards current affairs.
More advanced, yes.
Okay. And how did you choose your optional?
My optional, all right, sir. So basically, I did my graduation in English literature, and I thought I would go ahead with the subject in the civil services preparation as well. But when I saw the syllabus, again, syllabus identification has been my first step.
Right.
When I went through the syllabus, I identified that most of the syllabus coincided with my graduation syllabus. And I got scared that I am preparing for this journey and I would be repeating what I already know. So it won't be quite a journey if I do not learn anything new. Right. So I wanted to shift my subject, and meanwhile, I was writing a paper on globalization and theatre, and that's when I was introduced to the few concepts given by a few eminent anthropologists, and I looked up the subject, identified what it is, how it goes. I did not even know the meaning of anthropology
Okay.
when I started, but it seemed quite interesting and I took it up.
Perfect, perfect. Nice. So generally, what I deduce is that maybe you can look at your own interest area and see what interests you better, which subject would you like to pursue more, and then maybe choose your optional.
Yes,
Can
sir.
we say that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, perfect. And then, since you told me that there were two prelims that you could not qualify, now what is the journey like? Like, how did you motivate yourself, especially after the second prelims? Because in the third attempt, now you have qualified; it's all done. So how was it like? Because I know that the world around you makes a lot of noises,
Yes, sir.
and so how did you cope up with it?
It was actually difficult after first prelims, because after
Okay.
first prelims I was actually questioning my decision to get into civil services.
All right.
But second prelims I was deep into it. I knew there's no going back.
Right.
Either I cry about not clearing or I move forward, and I chose the latter.
परफेक्ट करेक्ट सो एक और बात याद रखने की है आप सबके लिए फिर कि कोई ज़रूरत नहीं अगर प्रीलिम्स नहीं भी हुआ तो इसके लिए शोक ना मनाएं, आगे बढ़ें, पढ़ाई करें। और देखिए अभी पिछले साल आशना ने प्रीलिम्स क्लियर नहीं किया और इस साल आपके साथ बैठे हैं और एंड शी हैज़ गॉट 116 रैंक, हर जर्नी इज़ ओवर, शी इज़ डूइंग वेल फॉर हर सेल्फ। इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि बहुत लोग मैं देखता हूँ प्रीलिम्स नहीं होने की वजह से इतने हताश हो जाते हैं कि अगला प्रीलिम्स भी फिर कॉम्प्रोमाइज करते हैं। लाइक व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज सम पीपल वुड क्वालिफाई प्रीलिम्स एंड देन even though as you correctly said that you are invested in the exam, so ideally there is no going back, but still if you don't study for 2-3 months, then it's kind of fetching you nothing in
Yes,
the longer
sir.
run. So that is something that people can learn from you, that you
I
remain
saw
invested.
it positively. In fact, I was happy that I couldn't clear prelims rather than not being able to clear mains, because then there's less time available with
Oh,
you.
great, great. And that is another thing that I have seen in many of you whom I have interviewed for this, that positive thinking is the key. That look at the opportunity rather than looking at the challenge in the event. So wonderfully done, wonderfully done. And so, anything specific for mains that you would like to suggest to the candidates, Ashna? That something that they should keep in mind when they are appearing mains.
When you are appearing for mains. All right, so it's basically, I would say that when you're appearing for mains, you focus more on the static portion. You focus more on mugging things up and then, writing those things. But the questions are not directly asked, and the questions demand examples as well, and some mentioning of the current events as well. So if you see how the questions are framed, you would realize that they are based on the current event. So a question would not be directly put in front of you as to what is this or what is that, but in light of the current events that are happening, how would you perceive this? So they are not simply testing your descriptive skills, they are also testing your analytical skills and how you are able to make connection between two things. So I would suggest that you also take the current portion along with the static portion, and that will really help you in terms of the quality of your answers.
Okay, okay. So maybe if I can put it this way, that maybe initial days can be spent making sure that the static is understood very well, and then use that static to apply on what is happening in the current. Like even say when you are reading the newspaper, check which part of the syllabus is
Yes,
covered
sir.
here, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, rightly said, rightly said. Okay. One more thing, Ashna, that how did you balance between optional and GS between prelims and mains? What was your strategy?
All right, sir. I try to be thorough in my optional till the time I start my prelims preparation, focused prelims preparation. So that was 2 months before the actual prelims. So till then, I made sure that 3 to 4 months are entirely dedicated to my optional, because if I'm not able to do good in my optional in the mains, then getting good marks in prelims
The rank
doesn't
gets
make
compromised, right?
doesn't make much sense. So yes, that was the trick till then. After after clearing prelims or after the prelims examination, I began altogether with my optional, studied it for 1 week, and then divided the time. The ratio got less for optional, and then the GS also creeped in. So it kept happening.
So initially you can put more time for optional, and gradually you can
Decrease
it. Perfect, perfect. And another thing there, Aashna, that how about essay paper? I know you have an English literature background, so that might have helped you quite a bit. But about essays, something that you would specifically suggest people can think about. Last 2 years, essays have been pretty philosophical in nature.
Yes, sir.
So something that is your strategy.
Yes, though the essays are getting philosophical, I believe, through the answers that I wrote in the mocks, I believe that they are not expecting very philosophical answers. So you are entirely making a philosophy out of things and then writing a very abstract answer. That would not help much, since it is UPSC examination and they demand you to be knowing things that are happening around you. So you also add some concrete material to it. Though the questions are philosophical, you answer in a very concrete manner, and also make sure that the two essays that you write do not follow the same structure.
Okay.
So then it also becomes the reader. I believe the reader would lose interest if both are the same. Both are structured in a similar manner.
So you would suggest that maybe people can choose essays which are slightly different in their methodologies in answering. And did you do anything specific for essay writing, or you practiced it normally?
I practiced it normally, but I would bring in opinions from the GS papers that I've studied. So there was no separate preparation for essay, but bringing in the knowledge that was already there.
All right. Just clarifying one thing, when you said concrete structuring of essay, do you mean that some examples from real life, etc., can be put into that to make the essay sound more familiar to the examiner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, perfect. तो जब आप ऐसे लिखें, ऐसे की तैयारी करें, तो कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स डालें उसमें, उनको बहुत ज़्यादा टेक्निकल ना बना दें, बहुत ज़्यादा फिलोसफिकल ना बना दें. वहाँ आपका टेस्ट फिलोसफी का या टेक्निक का नहीं है, आपकी क्रिएटिविटी का है. So it should be how creative you can be in your approach, and that was again a good thing on your part. How was the interview experience, Aashna? How did it all go?
It was very good. So this test, like the personality test, was very different from the previous two stages.
Right.
Here, you were not only required to spill out the knowledge that you have gathered over the time, but also to be sitting in a certain way. Your posture was being judged. Your the entire aura around you was being judged. Your tone, you had to moderate your tone. So it was a difficult process, but also a very enriching process, I would say.
Right. And how long did your interview go?
Roughly 25 to 30 minutes.
25-30 minutes.
Yes,
and nice coherent atmosphere, you felt good?
Yes, it was a very good environment. I felt very comfortable.
Right.
The questions were not very different from what I expected. They were along the expected lines. Some questions were from the form,
right,
and others were from the current affairs.
Okay, so mainly DAF and current affairs is what they focused upon.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. And you were at Next IAS in the IGP interview guidance thing. So how was your experience on that? It was you would like to give some general feedback?
It has been a wonderful experience. I mean, it was only Next IAS which was hosting practice mocks. So this was one thing that I really noticed. So the practice mocks were with the faculty. So it was a very detailed questioning of yours, and also the comments that were given were also very detailed in that practice mock. And then you were made to face the experts. So it's like they're making you go through a process and not bringing you in a situation at once.
Right.
So
right.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Right. Perfect. And anything that you would like to tell the examiners, especially I'll tell you why I ask you this question. So you tell me that what will be your advice? How much break should a person take after prelims? Like normally I'll tell you what I advise the students is then make it like an effort where you go till mains and take your break after mains.
Yes.
But since you have qualified and you have had a success story behind you, so what will be your suggestion after prelims? How much a break and how people should get back?
I would agree with you here. There's not much time in the mains examination that are conducted, and there's a lot of time after mains.
Right.
So it becomes very difficult to wait for that long. So it's advisable that you do not take you take only 1 or 2 days off and then get into the preparation mode, because you do not have much time in your hands.
Right, right. And just one last question, Aashna. You tell me that what is it that is dearest to your mind? What is it that one thing you would like to go about as a civil servant? I know being a woman, of course,
Yes, sir.
that comes in. But
Yes, sir.
otherwise, anything else?
Citizen-centric services. So, yes, following a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach,
Perfect.
understanding the needs of the people and then providing them services, rather than doing one's bit in providing services even if the people do not want it.
True, that's well said. Thanks a lot, Aashna. It was great talking to you. I'm sure everybody of you will also gain from Aashna's experience. Thanks a lot. I'll see you again with other topper candidates. Aashna has been a wonderful student. I'm sure everybody will gain from her. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.